Hi, and welcome to the show podium. The track is 021, and this week is the final part in the series that we've been putting together with Dr. George Pransky. And we held a webinar called Achieving Performance Excellence in Sport. And on that webinar were some fantastic people, sports coaches, managers, performance directors, who have started to look in this direction of understanding the three principles behind the human experience and looking at how that impacts people's lives. So this week is the final part, and we have a couple of questions, one from Graham Turner and one from Richard Pybus. Richard is an England-born cricket coach who coached the Pakistan and Bangladesh national teams and served as the director of cricket for the West Indies Cricket Board, and he held this position until recently, since October 2013. He is currently the most successful coach in South African first-class cricket, having guided the Titans and the Cape Cobras to 9 championship titles over 6 seasons, winning the Supersport Series 4-day competition 4 times. He has completed the domestic double 3 times in a row as a coach, twice with the Titans and once with the Cape Cobras. He was awarded the South African Cricket Coach of the Year in 2008-09 and again in 2010-11 by Cricket South Africa. Graham Turner is a coach and mentor with 20 years' experience in helping people improve the quality of their lives. He specialises in strength and conditioning post-rehabilitation and now works from an understanding of the 3 principles in schools, sports performance, and with people stuck in some aspect of their life. So let's jump straight over to the webinar recording and let Richard and Graham ask Dr. George Pransky their questions.
Hi, George.
Oh, hey, Graham.
How you doing?
Good.
I work with children and in schools as well as teachers. When I started out a couple of years back, I found that I was really attached to the outcome of the kids getting something. I think that I'd like them to get something, but it hasn't become an issue. But this year we've been working a lot more with teachers, and we found that when we're in there, we've got the same sort of opposition. I think Michael was possibly talking about, the younger kids getting it and the teachers not getting it. And I've been asked to go in and work with some sports people from August. And my own thoughts at this point is I'm going to be working hand in hand with the coaches that they've got there who have got no experience of the principles, as well as kids within an academy of a football team that are possibly open, a little bit more open. And what we've done within the school system is we've divided and conquered. So we work with the kids individually, and then we work with the teachers individually. I don't know if this is going to be an option when we're working within the football, the soccer schools. So just really any thoughts on how about going about that, or?
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Graham, that I realized when you were talking. I enjoy resistance more than anything else I do. Like, I enjoy dialoguing with people who don't really initially see this. And one of the reasons I like it is because that's how I learned to see it and say it in different ways. You see, so 40 years of conversations, not a lot of resistance that I haven't already dealt with, and I get better and better with it, see? Now, if you're not enjoying the resistance, then you got to go back to the drawing board, because resistance is just people's attempt to understand. Most people think that if they can take issue with what you're saying, many people, and oppose it, it'll be their way of getting to understand it. if there's something there of value, which they might question. Okay, so if you have a really, really respectful attitude towards resistance, you will find people become way more open when you talk to them. You see, so that guy that I gave you earlier, Doug, he could see that I was totally interested in what his objection was, because it mattered to me. I mean, he was the CFO of a multi-billion-dollar business. It matters to me whether he thinks his money is well spent. So he can feel that I'm really care, and that I'm on his side, and that I really want to understand what his objection is, and I really want to work things out with him. Now, if you can be that way with that kind of respect and patience for the faculty, for the teachers, you'll see them present differently. You'll see them much more receptive.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, George.
That's lovely. Anyone else have? We've got time for a couple more questions. Richard, would you like to go? There you go, Richard.
Hi, Denise. Hi, George.
Hey, Richard.
Before I get into the question, just Denise, absolutely brilliant. You've set this up for all of us.
You are most welcome, Richard.
Absolutely loving it. George, off the back of that last question, to give you a bit of context, my background is cricket. So your world, that's baseball.
Yes.
And my role would have been like the manager of the front office.
Okay.
And so I'd have a lot of people on a daily basis trying to get an in with regards to an opportunity to work with the organization. And I've got a very limited amount of time. And so if they manage to get to me, they've got a very, very small window of time to get their elevator pitch in. What are your thoughts around how you are making that pitch? And I'm being fair, I'll give you also another little bit of context here. Is Denise reached out to me on several occasions as somebody involved in sport. And I just didn't see any applications at the time. And with all due respect to Denise, she really stuck on it. And one day we just pitched up at the same conference, and we got chatting, and I really started to get a much deeper understanding of how the three principles could make a huge impact in performance. That's a little bit of background. What are your thoughts around practitioners being able to be able to get that opening?
Well, my thought is this, Richard, is the problem that practitioners have is they don't show up as human beings having a heartfelt, off the top of their head conversation. They don't show up that way. They show up as a pitchman who's got a product to sell, and the product is the three principles. What they should be doing is showing up as a human being interested in helping in any way they can, helping Richard's organization and Richard's athletes. And I'd like to know what you're up against, Richard, and I'd like to respond to it and see what you think, and see if we can figure out something between us that would be helpful to you. You see, that kind of level the playing field, heart to heart, us girls talking at the coffee shop, that's what makes sales, if you will, really easy. And what makes sales really hard is coming off as a pitch man with a product to sell, because instantly the person on the other end is going to get backed up and defensive. So it's much easier to make people receptive to increase people's receptivity than it is to be a better pitchman.
Okay, so George, off the back of that, and I get that, and I really appreciate it. It's for somebody who's now working, inverted commas, they're selling themselves as a performance coach, or a high performance coach, or a consultant coach, or whatever it might be. And you're working in an environment where you've got to pay the bills, and maybe you're not getting a lot of gigs. How does one get beyond the neediness, which can start to manifest when you know you've only got a short window of time with the head coach or the director of performance? How does one get over that?
Well, that's where the principles come in, Richard. In other words, the first step is to take responsibility for the fact that your insecurity, if you will, your insecurity is coming 100% from your mind, and is not circumstantial and is not understandable under the circumstances. It's just you got insecure. That's all that happened. You had insecure thoughts and an insecure feeling. And that all you have to do is take responsibility for that, and you will see that it becomes transient, because that's the nature of thought. So if I walk into your organization and I say, "Oh my God, I'm really tense. Richard told me I only have 5 minutes to pitch this thing, and I want to be able to have Christmas this year, and okay." And I noticed that, wow, I've scared myself. All right, I have scared myself. If I can say I scared myself, I will find my thoughts becoming more transitory. And there's no reason in the world that I can't be as relaxed as a millionaire coming into your office and pitching my product. No reason in the world why I shouldn't be just as relaxed as if I was independently wealthy. Now, if you lose sight of that and you link your insecurity to your financial circumstances, you essentially hold all those thoughts in place, and they can't take their natural course and leave your mind. But if you put a wedge between it and say, "Gee, I'm insecure about this presentation, and it really has nothing to do with my finances. It's just I'm a little nutty." You'll see that it goes. And there's no other way in my mind that things get better other than that.
George, thanks for that. I appreciate that. I just want to say to the other coaches on the call, just a little bit of a pitch for your book on relationships. I think that is a book which automatically pulls out into coaching. I think it'd be a great investment.
And I'll tell you something, Richard, this is my pitch, is we're coming up with the 25th anniversary edition in May, and it will have, I think, 30 more pages of update from what we've learned since we wrote it originally.
That's brilliant.
George and Linda, of the way they describe that they've rewritten it, is George says something and then Linda says something, and neither of them know what the other has said in the book, and still don't. I just think that's going to be an amazing book, George. I can't wait for you guys for us to get that. It's going to be so cool. They don't even know what each other's written.
Yeah, really.
It's so cool.
All right. Well, listen, I love doing this. If I did nothing but this all day, I'd be a happy man. Nothing but Denise Holland webinars, I'd be a happy man. So I really enjoyed that.
Well, I have so enjoyed working with Dr. George Pransky, and one of the products that Pransky and Associates have available to them online is their Insights course. And I know that George is really passionate about this course. It's very, very good. I have to say, I bought it a few years ago when it first came out, and it's a 12-week program, and it has some fantastic videos on it. There's a Facebook book group, and his daughters Erica and Cara do a brilliant job in bringing this understanding out into the world via an online program. So if you want to look at that, it's on www.pranskyandAssociates.com. And that brings me to say thank you so much to Graham Turner and to Richard Pybus for their questions. And for you, the listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. And if you feel that this conversation is going to be helpful for people in your lives, then please do share the link. If you'd like to get hold of me, you can contact me on denise.holland@class-performance.com, or you can look at my website on www.class-performance.com. So that just leaves me to say, have a wonderful day, an evening or afternoon, wherever you are in the world, and I look forward to sharing with you again next week. Until then, bye-bye.